Isolation day 170, Sunday the 20th of September. A bit of a confession. I'm no longer in isolation. I have decided now, due to the fact that the children have gone back to school, that there is almost no point in me staying in isolation because of the number of people that my children are in contact on a daily basis. So I have returned to work, so therefore isolation really doesn't apply anymore. Now these YouTube videos are really to do with my transition from keto to low-fat plant-based whole food following the Mastering Diabetes method. So what I wanted to do is review the last 3 or 4 weeks and 2 weeks in particular that I've picked out, and I want to show you the move from the last time I did one of these videos. Now I do realise that I told you I would be doing weekly videos, and it's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks since I've done one, so my apologies on that in that respect. But returning to work has been rather stressful at times, rather challenging, and now I'm a bit more settled. I want to be giving you a full update on exactly where I am. So today I'll go through a few different things. What I thought I would start with is just a bit of an overview. So I'm hoping this is going to be really eye-opening for you guys. This is my daily analysis of my blood glucose readings, calories, fat as a percentage of calories, which obviously is really important in relation to the Mastering Diabetes method, because the aim is less than 15% of all of your calories should be fat-based. Ideally 10%, but 15 is the guidance. Carbs consumed, total insulin consumed, total carb to insulin ratio, the basal insulin usage, and your carb to bolus insulin ratio. Now, this is under the keto, which was 7th to the 10th of May, so a long time ago. This is 2 weeks that I've picked out, 31st of August to the 6th of September, and the 7th of September to the 13th of September. So let's have a look at this. Can you see calories consumed? 1,245. I've got each of the individual days here, okay? But what I'm going to look at, if I hide this, and I hide this, and that last one, average keto blood glucose readings. Also, just as an aside to this, I will be doing a separate video that I will be posting on here, because I've been wearing the Dexcom G6, which I knew nothing about, but quite a few people have been raving about this. I'll put a link to that in this this video as soon as that's produced. I've also been wearing the Enlight sensor at the same time as the Dexcom G6, so I'm going to compare the two. Calories consumed, you can see 1245 under keto, 1700, 1900. Okay, fat content, hugely reduced, 14 grams of fat, 15 grams of fat on average for those 2 weeks. Fat as a percentage of calories, 7%, 8%, okay? Carbs consumed, look at the increase in carbs. Crazy. So I'm consuming a lot more carbs, 6-7 times the amount, yet I'm consuming thereabouts exactly the same amount of insulin as I was before. And you can see my basal, 14 units, 15 units a week, 24 on average, 24 units under keto. Carb to total insulin ratio was 2 to 1 on keto. I'm now around 11 to 1. So that is an overview of where we stand at the moment. This is the Medtronic CareLink report, and I've picked out a week 20th of July to the 2nd of August. Okay, I was on the low-fat plant-based whole food diet, but you can see the sheer number of lows that I was experiencing, and this was due to the fact that my insulin sensitivity was increasing, my insulin resistance was reducing, and so I had to reduce my insulin in order to ensure I wasn't going low. But look at the sheer number there. Numerous lows every day consistently. And that was a struggle to deal with, okay? Now, that was in, as I say, 20th of July to the 2nd of August. Now, I've picked out the 2 weeks that I showed you earlier. Look at that. That is a stark difference. Yes, I do still have some lows. which is great considering I'm consuming 5, 6, 7 times the amount of carbs that I was consuming before. And yes, I do have a few highs, okay? But overall, that isn't bad at all. It's not, I'm not having horrendous days. I'm not having consistent day in, day out lows. What you need to take into account is that my pump is set to show red below 3.9 and orange for high above 9. Now, I know lots of people will go above 10. I'm not particularly mad about doing that. I prefer to give myself a little bit less kind of leeway. So I go above 9, as you can tell, 9.7, okay, 9.5. Every other reading here is within range. And that's great. So the last thing I wanted to show you was, this is the Dexcom Clarity for exactly the same period of time, 31st of August to the 13th of September, okay? And you can see 81% within range, 1% very high, target range, there you go, 3.9 to 9, 1% very high, 4% high, 10% low, 4% very low. Now I think you need to bear in mind that this is a journey. We're not supposed to be experts from day one. I watched a post by Kylie from the Mastering Diabetes team last night, and she really made it clear that she's been doing this diet for 9 years. Cyrus has been doing it for 15 years, I believe, and this is always a bit of a work in progress. It takes time, it takes effort, and some of us sometimes, and certainly I am because I work with figures, I want to get this within range as quick as possible and as efficiently as possible, because I don't particularly like being high. I don't have a huge issue with being a bit low because I seem to be able to deal with that better, and my mindset is certainly better in that respect. But overall, at this stage, let's have a look at which week we're at. Week 16, so 4 months in. Let's go back to that. 81% within range. I'm not unhappy with that. I had days where I was 95% within range. That isn't impossible to achieve. 95% is tough, don't get me wrong, but I'm really aiming for plus 90%. And what I'm really trying to do is, yes, I'd like to reduce the highs a little bit. Yes, I'd like to reduce the lows a little bit. Ideally, as many, get rid of all of these very lows and the very high. That would be great. I wanted to revisit this summary sheet, and I think it's an important sheet to see because it gives you an overview of everything that I've been doing and this diet is allowing me to do over time. So this was the results on keto. This is the week 1, week 9 and week 16 of being on the Mastering Diabetes low fat plant-based whole food diet. Reduction in fat in grams is 86%, okay? The percentage of fat and calories is 7% of the total calories consumed. So that's really important, as I've said, and as everything that you're going to read in the book. Total insulin consumed has actually increased. And week 9, I was only at 19.5 units. I'm now pretty much back to where I was. But look, what I really need to point out is I was only consuming in week 9 182 grams of carbs, whereas now average is 337. Just as an aside, yesterday, Saturday, the 19th of September, I ate over 430 grams of carbs. And for someone that was eating 50 on a big day on keto, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And did I go high yesterday? No, not once. So, look, as I say, 31.8 units of insulin. Basal is at 15, so it's slightly increased from before. My carbs consumed are 600% of what it was before. Carb to insulin ratio, 600%. That's overall insulin consumed in the day in comparison to the carbs consumed. 600%. I'm really, really impressed with that, and you can see, I'm hoping, why I've been persistent and I've consistently tried to do exactly as they say and stick to the green light foods predominantly. So apart from the challenge, which is eating food in this fashion, which I seem to be getting on really, really well with, because I've got the support of my wife as well. My wife's Instagram handle is T1D_1wife, and she's posting, I'll put the information below. She's posting lots of the food that we're making together, and also that she's making on her own, because she's amazing. The last piece of the puzzle, as far as I'm concerned, is the private coaching. So I've signed up for the Mastering Diabetes private coaching, and the reason for that is I would like to get to the bottom and really hone in on what I like to call the big three. So basal rate, okay, throughout the day. Now granted, I'm doing fasting. This is Sunday the 20th. I'm actually fasting today, and I don't think I'm far away from being on top of exactly where my basal rates should be. The second one is the carb ratio, my bolus carb ratio, and the insulin sensitivity factor. Those are the top three for me. And the reason I've signed up for the private coaching is to really hone in on those and get the nuances of those, whilst also literally ticking the final box with the Mastering Diabetes team to ensure that I've got the full scope of information. I attended the DIY program, I've read the book, I've listened to the podcasts, okay, and I'm still listening to the podcasts, I'm still reading the book at times, I'm refreshing myself all the time. What I've also done is attended the online retreat. I was booked to go to Costa Rica, but I attended the online retreat due to COVID, and that was amazing. And so the last piece of the puzzle, as far as I'm concerned, is the private coaching. And that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of months. So at least 2 months. So what I will ensure is that I update you guys on how that's going and where we are. And I'm hoping to get that 81%, as I say, to above 90. And I don't think I'm far away. Please stay in touch, and if you've got any questions, let me know. I will put a couple of links below. I will also put a link to the Excel spreadsheet that I showed you earlier. Questions that you have, please let me know. And thanks very much for holding fire and making sure that you still watch, even though I've been 3 or 4 weeks.